Welcome to the Go Procast, where we invite business doers who are changing lives by sharing their stories, their strategies and tactics, and who bravely talk about their failures that actually led to their biggest successes. Now it's time to Go Pro with Jeremy Torres. Karel Gomez is the CEO and primary principal of an engineering and construction firm serving in the telecommunications industry across the country. A refugee from Cuba, Karel's career began at just age 17 with his first job as a service representative for BellSouth, which is now, of course, called AT&T. Gomez climbed that corporate ladder, and over the next 30 years, Karel has served in senior-level bilingual operations as a leader in the telco infrastructure, business management and development, and minority business development and guidance, both in the public and private sectors. He now leads his own nationally known firm called DraftPros, which under Karel's leadership and guidance has grown from just 6 employees to what it is today, which is more than 400 employees and independent contractors in only 5 years. Karel's primary focus, however, is on giving back to his community. Since 2018, Gomez has been a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Transportation Small Business Southeast Region, where he guides small business owners on managing the troubles of growing a business. Karel is also a member and supporter of the EPIC Foundation, which helps students from low-income communities get into college or find jobs. Please help me welcome my friend, Karel Gomez. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Our first live guest on the GoProcast.
Yes.
And
I do have a pulse.
It's kind of fitting because Karel was one of the very first. I'm going to say he was the first. He was the first person to give me my second shot at life. He was the person in my story, in my book, right back there, Labor to Leadership, where I talk about I was homeless. I lost my business. I was 40 years old, 38 years old. I worked in telemarketing for 3 years, starting at the very bottom and kind of working my way up. But after about 3 years, after that bubble market crash in 2009, around 2011, Karel gave me a job in the telco industry and started it was 2011 because I spent 10 years gone for 2011 and 2000 gone for 45 weeks a year.
Yeah.
For 10 years, going all over the country working together.
It was crazy. Listen, I don't know what I was thinking by hiring this guy, but I saw something in him that obvious is showing today. Jeremy's a special person. He's not only one of the hardest working individuals I've ever met, but he has got the dedication, and I'll talk about the 4 Ds, but it's just an amazing person you are, and I am very, very honored to be a guest in now your own show, and I follow you closely and watch how you've grown in this new field of yours, and I'm very excited for you and just glad to be a small part of it. And
well, you're a big
hopefully part. I'll be a big part of it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. You are a big part of it. So today's about you, though.
Thank you.
And everything that you do for the community, for your employees, and what a organization it's grown to. Now we were both with a different organization, and what I say in my speech, harness your superpower. 7 core ways to transform to positive, profound transformation is that I learned how to be a really, really great leader by having really, really bad ones early on. And we had one in common who probably meant well, but had a hard time trusting. And really wasn't very employee-centric, to say it that way.
Yeah,
and so what were the ways that you learned how to become a leader from a boss? Because where you started in Miami, you probably had a lot of people yelling at you as an employee when you were young.
So, I started in telecommunications as the opening notices shared. I started in communications when I was 17, and you're right. I've had some very good leaders and bosses and mentors, and I've had some very, very difficult ones. But what I have learned is that from everyone that you work with or every boss that I had, I learned something. So they all gave me something positive, even though I thought it was a negative at the time. Those actions of those negative folks that were in my life led me to where I am today. Learn to persevere. Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
I learned to persevere and overcome from the bad bosses and the bad managers. You don't learn from the easy road.
Right.
And you do learn from the good managers, obviously, absolutely a lot, but you also learn a lot from the people who don't treat you quite as well, because you learn how to deal with those folks. You learn how to manage those.
How to
those
manage your managers.
Yeah, how to manage your managers, and how to overcome them, and grow from them, or move on from them in a positive manner.
So can you think of a particular lesson where it was kind of like an epiphany, like, what we say here is, the accountability. And I want to hear about these 4 Ds that you have. And I have the 7, questions, core questions, 4 principles, guiding principles that we go on. But everything works in concerts. So who was the author, the book, the life experience? What was it that really told you, this is really how I'd like to be? My principles need to change, because I think we all start off with lizard brains and doing what we're exposed to. And we were exposed to really rough and tumble childhoods.
Yeah.
And so getting punched in the face, that's kind of a hobby for each of us for a long time. And so we kind of treat people with rough, tough, straightforward directions, instructions, figuring they were smart enough to figure it out like we were. But not everyone's like that, unfortunately. Most people aren't.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you grow up in a tough environment, correct, you learn to be tough, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's a little too aggressive for folks who are not used to it, like we've experienced. Both Jeremy and I have kind of the same managing styles of straight to the point, no nonsense. This is what it is. There's no crying in baseball, right? Type of that Tom Hanks quote from that great movie. And so, but some of the things that lead me here is first, you talked about a manager that I've had several of these bad managers that the one case I remember as an early age, my manager didn't like me. He just flat out didn't like me. I was on a telephone climbing crew, pole climbing crew, and I was the skinniest and the shortest of all the guys, and everybody was tall and strong, and he didn't think I fit, so he took my ladder away and made me climb every single pole. And it was a tough situation, because everybody else had had the ability to choose. I had to climb every pole, and he was trying to break me, and what he did was make me a very good lineman.
Yeah.
And made me such a good lineman that eventually I got promoted to be a supervisor of construction, because I had no choice but to be a good lineman. He tried to break me. He made me a better man, even though his efforts were in the wrong direction. Right? He was trying to get me to quit, and what he made was a stronger telephone lineman. That's one instance, right? It's amazing how the least expected individuals could have the most impressive impact on your life, whether personal or financial life.
Or on purpose or intentional or not.
Yeah, and by the same token, I've had some very, very good, positive mentors, who I can name many. Jose Tarafa, if you ever listen to the podcast, he's one of my great mentors who always believed that I can do more than what I thought I could do. So there's individuals that are positive and negative, and you just have to find the value in everything, the good and the bad, and propel yourself in the direction you want to go, not the direction people are driving you to. It is important that you realize in life that your future is written by you and God, no one else, right? I'm a very spiritual person. You hear me mention God a lot on this podcast. I'm not ashamed of it, because I am a spiritual person. But I tell you, You and God make your future. No one else. Is the actions of others that you have to analyze well and then use in your favor. And it could be as simple as propelling you to doing more than a 30-minute install instead of 2 hours, or me propelling me to becoming financially independent, right? Because it's really your mindset.
That's exactly right.
That gets you where you want to go.
That's when that mindset clicks, things just get easier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lightning bolt, right? The mindset. It's all about mindset. Mine happened when I was 20. I was 22 years old. Another one that when Charles told me that thing. I've had a couple of them in my life, but we all regress, right? And we go backwards. We get to a plateau, and then we just go backwards. Some adversity happens because we think we've gotten by so much, but something else bad happens, and then you go, wow, man, for a minute, you're down. So tell us about your management style and your leadership style, and how did you develop it? What are the names for it? And let's get into some of that.
Well, I don't know if I have a name for my leadership style. I've been called
system.
many names that I don't think I can say on here, right? But I manage to the objective, to the point.
Yeah.
I manage to what's needed, to the goal.
Yeah.
I don't like to beat around the bush. I always believe that we can get it done. I am one of those optimists when it comes to the task. Mm-hmm. I want the task to get to. I believe that the task can be complete. I believe that the goal can be achieved.
Yeah.
And there is no such thing as a task or a goal too great or too grand.
Correct. Yeah. I know that about you.
Listen, just think about it. When we were born, we could barely feed ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And then you learn to walk, and then you learn to run, and some of us become great athletes. And when you're young, you don't think it possible, but it is possible. Everything's possible. It's just if you set your mind to it.
We had some challenges. We went to Chicago, had to turn that cell tower business around.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably a feat that most people would run from, but we took it on. I took it on because I didn't know any better. But I trusted you because the way you talked.
But our teamwork,
that's right.
Our combined minds, it's incredible because we're not quitters, right? You can't be a quitter if you want to achieve your goal. That's not going to happen. And we're not quitters. So we went through heck to get our goals accomplished. It wasn't easy. It's not like we can get it done easy.
So hard.
Yes.
Those meetings
were
really tough.
But we also had some good times.
And also, don't even bring it up. The bowling. I know you think about the bowling alley.
Yeah. But we'll skip that one.
Keep that one. But those meetings, they did serve a purpose because they did. And he was, for all, whatever you want to say, we deserved some of those.
Yes, we did.
We had to.
We didn't do everything right.
No, we didn't.
We didn't do everything right.
You grow this organization, DraftPros. You started it about 5 years ago, and you had 6 employees, and mostly it was just engineering when you took it over. Is that probably pretty accurate?
Yeah. So,
and just it was an existing company, and it was local engineering for many years.
Yes. Small company, 5-6 employees, 700 square foot office space, a very small office space, and only one customer, doing minimal revenues as a company. And I bought in as 50% owner of the company for $65K.
Yeah,
I bought half the company for $65K, and in only 3 years, we grew the company to the 400 plus people that we are today. Revenues greater than $30 million, offices in over 20 states, right?
Yeah.
Well, offices in 8 states, doing business in over 20 states. I don't want to say anything that's not true.
Our fact checkers are brutal.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's pretty much my daughter.
Yeah, that's fine. So we grew crazy growth.
What was the
over
number
600%.
one reason for your growth? The number one, if you had to boil it to one word.
Perseverance.
Why?
Perseverance. Because you persevere through all the negatives that try to bring you down. When you start a business, okay, in whatever industry you're in, you have many factors driving you down, pushing you down to fail.
Yeah.
First one and most powerful one is the people you have worked with in the past who do not want to see you succeed, and they are doing everything they can to bring you down, and we have both experienced that firsthand.
We have.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
So you have to
by
fight
hook,
that.
by crook, by lawsuits, by
by all those things.
Yeah.
And you have to survive all of that. Then you have to understand financials and be able to finance your growth, right? And so that's a challenge. Then personnel, another challenge which you're well aware of, and you talk about in all your podcasts and how to deal with personnel.
Yeah. We're gonna get
that's
to there.
a challenge.
We're gonna find out.
And then becoming a businessman. Most of us don't know what a businessman, a business owner, business person really is until you're in up to your neck in alligators and you're drowning, and then you start to learn.
Gosh.
Right? We learn very little from the good times. We learn
That's
a
right.
lot from the very difficult times.
And
it's
those are the ones that take the years and the hair.
so you persevere. But you, me, anyone can become a successful business owner if you follow the 4 Ds. May I say?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. Determination, and these are not my words, but
You made them yours.
I made them mine,
Yeah.
mine, and I live by them. Determination, dedication, discipline, and desire. Okay? So, let me explain what they are. As a business owner, and folks, there's a big difference between self-employed, business owner, okay, and an employee of a company. Those are 3 different things.
Yeah.
The worst one to be is a self-employed individual, okay? Self-employed individuals have all the risk and costs associated with the business, have to work an 8, 10, 12-hour day in the business, okay?
In the business.
With very little reward because you cannot grow the business. A true business owner only works on the business, not in the business.
right.
And that's the biggest difference. You don't want to be a business owner that works in the business. You want to be a business owner that works on the business.
Yes.
All right? So, determination. As a business owner, you have to be determined to succeed. You cannot go into business, and I know most will say, no, I go into business. I'm determined. No, you have to really be determined to reach your goal.
Yeah.
I am determined to make my business a success, and I am going to do whatever it takes to do that. And whatever it takes means almost anything.
Yes.
As long as it's not illegal or unethical, you have to be willing to do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
And you've been there through some very dark times because I was close enough with you where we had some really candid talks about when you couldn't make payroll many, many weeks in a row.
Exactly.
Many times. It happens a lot. And people don't pay you.
It is.
And you have to pay people.
Very scary, and you have to become very creative with finance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But continuing with the D's, right? You have discipline. You got to be disciplined. You got to be determined. I meant determined. Yeah. Okay? You have to be dedicated. You have to be dedicated to your business and your business only. I meet a lot of business owners through my public speaking, and you can relate, who are like, yeah, I do my business, but I want to shut down at 5, and I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks because I made some money with a big project. And so the focus is not really on the business. They're using the business to make money to live a more comfortable life. I get that, but true business owners, true entrepreneurs live to grow their business, live to work.
It's an obsession.
It's an obsession with the growth of your business.
Yeah. And
okay, so that's where the dedication part.
Dedication.
Dedicated to your business and your business only. Many a times I've had my friends tell me, hey, let's go on vacation for a week or 2. And okay, so who runs my business?
Yeah.
Well, but don't you want to take a break? No. I enjoy working, and yes,
That's
it may
the key.
sound like a slave job, but
that's
it
the
isn't
key.
if that's what you enjoy.
It is if you make it enjoyable.
And
that's up to you.
And when you talk to the most successful entrepreneurs of the world or business owners, Bezos, any of these guys, right? You will get the same message.
Yeah.
They are always working. They go on vacation, it's working.
It's still work.
Not because they have to.
No, they
but
want
because
to.
they want
Yeah.
to. Because their goal is to grow the wealth, the business, their empire that they're looking to build. And by the way, there's no such thing as enough is enough.
No,
There
you're
is
always
such
going
thing.
wider or deeper.
Yes.
There's always an opportunity to grow it, and that takes, guess what? The money you make, putting it back into it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So continue with the 4Ds. You have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. When you make rules, create rules for your business,
favorite one.
do not break them.
Yeah, my favorite one is discipline.
Do not break your rules for your friends, for your family. The rules are the rules. They're in place to save you money.
Yeah.
They're in place to move the business forward, and you have to be disciplined. Be disciplined with yourself. Stick to the business, stick to the rules, and do not break them.
I think it starts with the small things too, like getting up early. Getting the stuff like if you work out, doing it early, reading. I mean,
Yes.
you know me a long time. Did you ever think you'd see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books to my left? I mean, that's
Actually more.
that's that. I mean, that's my life. I read every single day. There's something, whether it's a guest coming on or motivation or speech I'm going to give. There's so much stuff. I mean, Marcus Aurelius lived 2,000 years ago, and that's his book that he wrote over there. That's his journal.
Wow.
I get so much stuff from a guy who lived 2,000 years ago by reading
amazing.
a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes. And I'm a horrible reader.
And
It's the nuggets. I'm a nugget searcher.
Yeah.
Is what I am. That's discipline.
But no matter the time, whether 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years
It's
ago,
all relative, right?
it's always the same. Folks who have been dedicated, even the bad ones,
Yeah.
even the bad world leaders,
Yeah.
were disciplined, dedicated, determined, and had the desire. They just desired the wrong thing.
Successful for the evil instead of for good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they all had it.
But it's
right?
those little things that everybody has to be disciplined. It starts off with the smallest of things. If you
Yeah.
can't do the little things right, you're not going to do the
You're
big
not
things.
going to do the big things. And as your business grows,
Yeah.
you have to be your discipline level has to increase
It's more
because
important, right?
things start coming at you that you didn't know existed. The business evolves, and you have to be ready to evolve with it, and you have to be a professional. Bottom line, be a professional. And then the last word is desire, right? You have to have the desire to be better than you were. Not better than anyone else.
Right.
Better than you were before.
Yeah.
I look at life in 10-year intervals, right?
Okay.
And so I have to be better these next 10 years than my last 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay? And so if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah,
Right?
That was, I didn't go to college, but I went to night school once. And the only paper I wrote in the history of my high school was called "If you're not living, if you're not growing, you're dying."
Yeah.
It was about a business class, and
It
that is
is.
exactly
That's exactly right.
It
If you're not
hasn't changed
growing,
it
you're dying.
35 years ago.
And it will never change. If you're not growing,
By
you're
the way,
dying.
I got a B+ in that paper. By the
Oh,
way.
yeah?
Yeah.
Wow, that was probably one of your only ones, huh?
That was. My blood type and my one grade was
yeah.
B positive.
He's a great speaker. Not that.
Not that good of a homework kit taker.
Yeah, well, neither was I.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got to
If
grow.
you're not growing, you're dying.
You've got to grow. So you
Period.
have to desire to be better than you were. Not better than the next guy or the other guy or the other woman. These folks, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And they're going to reach the success that they're going to reach higher or lower than yours. It doesn't matter to you. What matters to you is what you have accomplished and where you have grown from before to now.
And I don't think growing necessarily means growing bigger either.
Well, no, I don't want to be
Evolve.
fatter.
Your business has to evolve. We all get, hey, I go up and down, but your business is going to go up and down. And you've got to evolve. And speaking of evolving and business growing, I want to talk just for a few minutes that we have left about really how did you grow the employee base so big, so fast, to such a great number? How do you hire? How do you find leaders? How do you keep your employees engaged?
Yeah.
Those are the three things that I find my customers, my clients need the most help with.
Very difficult things to do. But let me tell you how you grow your business quickly. It's not a rocket science formula, but it is a formula nonetheless that I use to grow my business. Remember, when we started the podcast, I said in just 3 years, we grew over 600%. This is how. Most business owners, small business owners, right? I'm talking about small business owner, 10 employees to 50 employees, something like that. You try, as a small business owner, I don't know why, we try to work and do business in the areas geographically that we are familiar with. And so what I realized when I bought the business, I said, listen, why do I have to do business in South Florida only?
Yeah.
Why? I can do business anywhere in the nation, and just for the sheer math of it, I will grow my business.
Right.
Right? So the first step in growing your business quickly, folks, listen to this. It's simple. Geographic boundaries. Remove the fencing. Remove the geographic fence. South Florida or whatever town you live in is not
Business
your geographic zone. The whole nation is.
Yeah.
If you take just 0.5% of the business that you're in the town that you're in, and then you repeat that in every town, every large town in the nation, that 0.5%, if you do 20 different cities that you work in, now you have 20% of that business.
Yeah.
You understand? So by the sheer geographics of it, you have now given yourself the opportunity to generate more revenue. So how do you do that? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how much time we have because
We have as much time as we want.
Okay.
This is a my show. For certain
because I really
friends
want
and
to get
family,
this message
30
across.
minutes is usually, but I think I see this one going long and we chop it up into smaller pieces. It's fine. But I think it's called what I call me and my friend Jocko Willink calls it decentralized management.
Yeah.
All right, that's the trick to growing it across the country.
You have to decentralize management.
The managing, what's the trick, or what is your process for when you cast that net wider to keep the controls in place?
So, very good question. But the first thing business owners have to learn is how to trust. Trust in your processes and procedures, not in the people. People are people. And yes, trust people. I'm not saying don't trust people, but you first got to trust in your process and procedures. So before you can go nationwide or expand your geographic, you have to write, and I mean write, written on paper, legally, a processes and procedures and legal documents that protect your business from anyone who's going to try and take it, try and run it incorrectly, or anything negative to the business. So number one step is writing your processes and procedures. Why? Because when you hand that off to a new manager that's in another city, they are going to do things exactly as you do them here, according to the document. Right? And they're going to have a legal document that says you have to do it this way, or I don't owe you anything. Right? So, and again, the details are in the pudding, but the point is, legal document that protects your business and protects the way you do business, and a processes and procedures. Remember, people fail. Processes and procedures do not. People are the ones that fail the process. Processes don't fail because time is taken to write the process. Write a clear process on how to run your business. Write a legal document that protects you from others who will try to take your business, and they will try.
They will try.
Okay?
Most successful people.
And then go out and find via the interview process or whatever, the right individual. Who is the right individual? I have found that the right individual is someone who is of an entrepreneur mind, who wants to grow a business too, and you're giving them the opportunity to run your business as a business owner, like it's their own business.
Entrepreneur.
You give them ownership. Most important thing in business is to align your interest with everybody else's interest, right? Or align their interest with yours.
Vice versa. Exactly. Either one, but
their interests have to be your interest. If you get paid in apples, you got to pay in apples. That's another thing. You can't pay people by the hour if you get paid by the piece.
That's a big mistake that entrepreneurs are. I have a client in Delaware, Johnny Hoopengardner. There you go. You got your name on there. He gets paid to do X amount of rooms, and he wanted to pay people in hours. I'm like, no. If they take too long, you lose your money. But if they go slow and you pay them a percentage of each apartment, then you won't lose money.
And you have to follow labor laws. And look, I called the labor department when I was starting, and I said, hey, I want to pay production because I get paid production. What are the ways that I can do this legally without breaking labor laws? And they wrote it down for me. They gave me all the documentation, and I used the documents from the labor department. Said, here you go. This is how we do it. This is legal. So, because you don't want to do anything illegal. But you've got to have a process that follows how you like to run the business. So you're basically giving the individual in the other town a carbon copy of how you run your business, and you say, I want you to run it this way, right? And then you have the legal document to make sure that they are being policed by that and that they're staying in line, and align the pay models in the same manner, but give them ownership. Give them ownership, and that doesn't mean give up ownership of the business. Give them ownership, accountability and responsibility. Make them feel like they are not just an employee. And I think that's the key to finding good managers is giving them the opportunity to feel like they are part of the company
the
as a
reason.
leader, and that their opinion matters.
That's right. So now you say that's kind of the key word I was hoping to hear from you. You got your process, it's written down, it's 3 years old, maybe you're working for, times change, technology changes. When you get feedback, do you ever go back and change your process based on the feedback, or do you just say, no, this is concrete and it can't be changed?
100% you change it.
Good.
100% you change it.
Hold on, I'm going to give, for the listeners, hold your ears. Have to change it. Yes, I believe so. That's. I'm glad to hear that, because that is where I am living in these days.
Yeah, your
Pivot,
business,
disrupt, and transform is about listening.
that's exactly right. You have to evolve. Your business has to evolve, and that means your processes have to evolve. As your business grows, the rules of the game change.
They do.
Right?
Yeah.
When you get to 25 employees, the laws change.
Right
when
there,
you get to 50, the laws change. When you get to over 100 employees,
And when you're working
now
federally, right? You work across state lines.
Yeah.
Those are other components that people don't think of.
As your business grows, your processes have to change, not only because of legal obligations, but because that's the only way you're going to be able to address the adjustment in the business and how to keep your profitability up, your cost in line, your expenses, right? And so, yes, your processes have to be adjusted as you grow, and they are consistent. They are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Constantly changing.
Then they rolled back and then out again, right?
Yes.
I got a great idea from this manager, from this state, roll it back to corporate, put it in the books, make sure legally it works in every state, and then go, hey, guys, Cliff had a great idea.
That's right.
How does this sound to you? Oh, yeah, we've been talking about this is great. And then you make everybody happy by singing from the same sheet of music.
Everybody has to sing from the same sheet of music. And you said something important. Your managers across your regions, they all have to have an opinion.
Yeah.
That's how they feel included, and inclusion is the most important part of keeping a strong team.
Yeah.
Inclusion. They have to feel included, and their opinion has to be really heard. Listen, not just say, "Oh, tell me your opinion," and then wash it off. Like, no, don't. You have to listen, because you'd be surprised at what good ideas would come from a manager out of town that you barely ever speak to, but they've got great ideas. And so, listen to your team, make them inclusive. That's part of the success of running a business that's nationwide.
So do you believe in, how do you reward them at the end of the year? Is it bonus? Do you give them money? Do you give them time? What do you feel like speaks the most to these employees who are doing a kick-ass job for you? You're trying to engage them, trying to keep them. Do you put in writing a percentage of a bonus so they understand what they're working for? Or do you just kind of just do it based on everybody's, how you feel at the end of the year, how the money was?
Again, it goes back to processes.
Yeah.
Everything has to be in writing. And as your business grows, it's extremely important that everything's in writing and that everything is fair and equal for all. In our case, we have a bonus program set out where 50% of the bonus is guaranteed and the other 50% is at risk, dependent of the performance of the company at an EBITDA level or profitability
So
level.
half is on their performance.
Yes.
And the other half is based on the company-wide performance.
Exactly.
So there's two different parts of there.
Two different
and
components
they both have
to their bonus.
influence over both of them, but more influence on their own. So if they kick ass, at least half they're going to get.
So if an employee or a manager,
they hit their matrix.
They hit their matrix. They have a good evaluation. Their 50% of their bonus is set, and then the other 50 is based on the overall performance of the company, right? You can't hand out bonuses if you didn't make any money. So the company has a profitability goal, and we all work towards reaching that goal.
Yeah.
But again, processes, procedures. We have meetings. I have a monthly corporate meeting with all of my team members across the nation. And I talk to them via live podcast, and they get to see me. And I give an update on where the company's at, financial update, new business updates. We talk about employee of the month. We recognize different individuals. We talk about new ideas. We talk about some of the bad things that may have happened, right? We talk about safety. Safety is very important.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Especially in your line of business.
That meeting makes people feel inclusive. And then after the meeting, people send their notes and their ideas or their comments or whatever. And I welcome all of those. And so we go through them and then give feedback or respond to those things. But definitely, you have to reward your team members with financial rewards such as a bonus, but that's a one time a year thing.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, we have different events that we do that the employees can participate in. You have competitions, costume like in Halloween. People have costume
So
contests,
fun, personality. People
fun,
get to
fun stuff, and we
show them.
reward. Like if the employee of the month gets rewarded with a $250 gift card or a free dinner to a place of their choice, something like that. If we have a manager that went above and beyond, or any employee really that went above or beyond, and for any reason at any given moment, we make sure that we reward them with something simple, but it means a lot because they feel appreciated.
I call that being caught in the act of greatness.
That's right.
That's the award that I used to give.
That's right.
Catch somebody in the act of greatness.
Love your quotes, man.
I always had a full pocket. In fact, in my backpack over there in my car also, I got a stack of Starbucks gift cards.
Oh, yeah.
I give them to people in drive-thrus even, like KFC, and they're really pleasant. Wow. Yeah. That's really, you don't have to do, the bar's pretty low in fast food to impress me. But if they were impressive and they were nice, I'm like, hey, you like Starbucks? Here, next coffee's on me.
Wow.
And I hand them out like candy. But it's being caught in the act of greatness, your stewardess, as much time as we spend on planes. You get somebody who brings you an extra scotch or another dessert or something, bam, here's a Starbucks card,
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to start doing that Starbucks card. I like that idea.
That's the best. Yeah.
I
Now,
like
they're in $5 increments. They used to buy a cup of coffee. Now they're still kicking out $1 or $2 themselves. But maybe you're better off going with Dunkin'. Maybe I should switch to Dunkin' for $5. Get a lot more for your money.
All right,
But I'm not doing the people any favors. So the future of DraftPros, what is next? How about this? You are very heavily probably leveraged on affiliates also, which I love the affiliate model. It made me all the money I've ever made in the world has come mostly from affiliates, contractors, independent contractors, less liability, paying out more money, but you have a lot less moving parts.
Right.
Do you still love that model? And how would you suggest to people the balance of maybe a ratio of internal employees versus contract? Because even this business, Tourist Pro Advisors, I'm a one-guy shop, but I've got a business guru, a conflict resolution expert, somebody who's really, really great at marketing, a branding, genius. These are people I bring in depending on what my client needs, because I know a lot about everything, but if I know that I can't help them, I have somebody who does, and they're an affiliate.
Yeah.
So same thing with your business.
Definitely. Our model is of 90% affiliates, 10% in-house.
So mostly management and administration.
Management and administration.
In-house.
All of corporate, of course, is in-house.
Yeah.
And all of our projects are managed and ran by in-house individual employees. But the bulk of let me take that back. In construction, because
that's the thing.
We're an engineering and construction firm in the telecom industry. I don't know that we even said that at the beginning. I know the website's up, but so in the construction side, 90% of the work is subcontracted out to our affiliates to do the work. And you're right, that helps us manage the ups and downs. Costs are controlled. So it's great to work with affiliates on the construction side of the business. On the engineering side of the business, it's about 70% in-house, 30% contracted out. But again, we believe that the affiliate model is the most stable model in business to control your costs and your unknowns and your expenses, because yes, you may make a lesser profit at the front, but the bottom line, EBITDA net, you probably end up with a greater number and less parts to manage.
Yeah, especially with this age of regulation, COVID, start again, start up again, and each state's different, so you take a little bit less of the liability of having to pay people hourly or salaries when they're not physically working. But you need to keep them engaged, so you have to, come up with a way to balance that leverage, that liability with people who can afford to maybe go work somewhere for another week or two and not impact you, and come back because you're the better choice because you pay on time, you pay better, they have better clients. Let's talk about, though, for 1 second, and as we're kind of landing the plane here, the importance of how the business has grown so wide, so fast, and the importance of building these relationships that you cultivated over the years and be known, a thought leader, someone they trust immediately, or they can talk to somebody from the state that will vouch for you. How did you do that?
Yeah, so at first, when I was starting out, it was difficult to call on a contractor and say, hey, would you do this job? They said, well, who are you? I don't know if you can pay on time or anything. So how you balance that is you paid out most of your profits to your contractor, right? Because if you have nothing else, you don't have history, you don't have anything to fall back on, you have to then pay more, right?
Yeah.
And then you give them faster pay terms, right? Where a contractor may be used to getting paid 30, 60 days, you're paying them now in 14 days, all right? So you're giving up most of your profit. You're paying it in shorter terms, all of this to attract contractors. But as your business grows and you create a history, then you get to where we are today, where we have to work. We are a trusted customer, if you will, of our vendors. So now they come to us. So now our profits are higher, right? Our payment terms are back to normal, right? 30 to 60 days. And you're making a higher margin because you have to work. You're trusted by these contractors, and so now they come to you. And so when you go into a new city, a new town, and you're looking for a contractor, as you build your network of contractors, you start to it's like tentacles. They spread out,
right?
And so whether you advertise that you moved in and you have a new project in this area, or they find out. They're going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, you got this contract. Is there work for us?
Right.
But if they don't come to you, what you do is you go to the local workforce in the area and you find out who are the contractors who can do a good job. And you approach them and say, hey, I have this project. I can pay you this. This is our history. So it gets easier.
Yeah, that brand that you've built over
Yeah,
the years.
it gets easier as long as you consistently deliver, you stay disciplined, and you pay your contractors, even though it may mean less money for you.
Yeah.
You've got to pay your guys.
Yeah, but I like the once you're established too. If you got a guy, especially if they're hungry and you can tell they're good, they've been working maybe for another industry or another, not a competitor, but another. Like they're working cable, but now you're doing fiber for a phone company. So you're not stealing anybody, which I always hated stealing contractors because you're not helping your client by stealing a competitor's crew.
Borrowing from Peter to pay Paul.
Bringing somebody from like Comcast over to AT&T, and you want to pay them in 2 weeks for the first 2 months so that they can start getting quicker paychecks, and then you pay them in 3 weeks. Eventually, that pump is primed, and they're getting paid every week, and they could be out 30 days.
Yeah, and that cash cycle starts to work for everybody. Let me tell you something that we're very proud of at DraftPros that we've done that's very different. You know, our work volume in engineering has grown significantly and very fast. And in order to keep up, there's only so many engineers or drafters out there, right? So not to do what you say, which is what most companies do, is they say, hey, I'll give you an extra $1, right? Come work with me, lead that guy. Yeah. And so, but that doesn't serve the customer.
That's right.
Because the customer's not getting any more workforce.
That's right.
He's getting the same people going to a different vendor.
Yeah.
Right? What we've done in our engineering set is we create our own school. Create our own engineering school, our own telecommunications design school, right? And we train anywhere between 10 and 15 individuals, and we give them everything. We give them everything, the tools, the computers, the monitors, everything. Wow. And the training is free of charge, and we create a young and new workforce. And so we partner with the Epic Foundation, right? And some of the local schools like Broward School System, we partner with them to get the kids right out of high school who may not have an opportunity in college, and we offer them this opportunity. Because guess what? In 30 to 60 days, these kids are making real money.
Right. That's amazing.
And they learn a trade that they will always be able to make a living from. So we serve the community by giving back to low-income individuals, young men and women who are not otherwise able to go to college or anything like that. We give them the training, we give them the tools, nothing at no cost, and I mean zero cost or no obligation. And what we get is a dedicated drafter.
The loyalty.
Loyalty, because we gave them the opportunity.
Yeah.
They start producing work. We can generate revenue for ourselves and revenue for that individual. It's a win-win situation. We're very proud of it. And like I said, 10 to 15 every month consistently for the last year now.
Wow, and that's the Epic Foundation.
The Epic Foundation is the foundation that helps us find the young men and women.
Is that local only in Broward, Dade County?
Epic Foundation was based out of Broward. Now they're going national.
Oh, wonderful.
Right? I'm on the board, and so I'm trying to teach them how to go national.
Nice.
AJ is the head of that Epic Foundation. Shout out to AJ.
I gotta find out more about that.
And look, it's a great foundation because they work even from junior high with kids.
Yes.
Helping them get through mentorship program, get through school.
Wow.
They help that kid graduate. Right? And then they try and find job placement for these kids.
They have some foresight and vision of what they're going to do with their life after high school.
Right. And there's donations that the foundation makes to the kids that they need it for books and things like that. Or if they're short on their tuition for college, we'll help pay that gap. Right? But if they don't have the college opportunity, then they're turned to us and we give them a trade.
Give them a trade, which is the
best. They don't teach telecom anywhere.
No, they don't. No.
They don't.
No. I had, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade, we had a cable guy show up, drilled a hole in our subfloor, pushed the cable through and said, your parents are going to have to pay me $25 more to climb into the house, or you could do it. And I climbed under my subfloor in our base, and I grabbed that wire, brought it out to him, and my mom came home, and she's like, I was crawling out of the handle, and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I saved you $25. She's like, all right, good. Nowadays, you what? Imagine a cable guy asking a kid to do that. So I've been in cable since I was in like 6th grade. But you're right. There's no other way you found out, right?
Right. So, but it's
a great
innovation. Program. Innovation. You're creating workforce, and by the way, the customer loves it because now you're really dedicated to serving the customer by adding new workforce to their needs.
Original, talent.
And that's why we're one of the better
training them their
providers.
Way. Right? The provider, the stuff you're teaching them are the provider-specific specs and products. Now, how about the relationships that you've built over the years with the providers, with the vendors, the companies, the AT&Ts, and those? Those are, people see those companies as big conglomerate, businesses with no faces. But business is business is business. It equals people. Definitely. And so how did you grow those relationships and cultivate that kind of contacts where you turned it from you're going after everything to where they're starting to call you and say, hey.
Again, it's the same thing. Delivery. If you deliver consistently, you create a reputation that creates a, what's the word? Habit, I guess. There's another word, and I'm losing it now, but it'll come to me. But basically, what you want to create with your customer is that habit that they need you, not because they need you, but because they're used to your production, your results, right? Customers at any level in any company, right? They want to deal with people who can deliver what they need,
right?
Because no matter how large that customer company is, you call it AT&T, the individual representing that company has a need to deliver a product to their boss, because we all have a boss.
Yeah, we all have a boss. My wife's a boss.
And so they're going to look for the vendor that can help them get there faster, easier.
And make their life easier.
Make their life easier. So your job is to do that. Your job is not to create more headache for your customer.
Right.
Your job is to make their life easier, right? And yes, sometimes the customer can become overwhelming and over demanding and ask for things that are beyond. But they are also understanding in most cases. And so you got to push back sometimes, because remember, just because you're a vendor of a customer, you are not their employee.
No, I view it as partners.
I don't work for you.
Right.
I don't work for you.
Right.
I offer a service at a cost.
Yeah, for you. It's a true partnership at some point.
I serve your business needs, but I am not your employee, so don't treat me as your employee, and don't allow your customer to treat you as their employee. Say, hey, you got to be here to this time or this time. Wait a minute. I am in this for I'm in a business of making money. I will serve you. You give me a timeline, you give me a deadline, you give me the rules behind that, and I will meet those. But as far as when I work and don't work, that's up to me. You've got to be allowed to run your company.
Yeah, because there's reasons that they don't understand. A lot of them.
Yeah,
They've never been out. A lot of them haven't been out in the field. It's like that meme with the girl with the book, at the tower, base of the tower, going, according to this page right here, you should be doing this, and the tower guys are, what? Yeah, yeah. Exactly. I got someplace to put your book.
Exactly.
Because sometimes real life happens, and you have to do things that, again, it's safety and then procedures and all that. But as far as when you work, you're gonna get a deadline to meet.
The customer forgets that you're doing this for a profit.
Yeah.
And if you become the customer's employee as a vendor, then there goes your profits.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You've got to, again, discipline.
And setting up the expectations up front with your written, you got a contract. They give us a contract.
Enforce the contract that they gave you, just as they would have, as you would ask to have your contract enforced.
So putting everything in writing, being that communication flow, right?
But you have to deliver.
Yeah, delivering at the end of the day.
You have to deliver a good product.
Quality.
Because that gives you the authority, in a sense, to demand to be treated correctly.
Okay. So I got a question to ask you then. In that sense, with Bob Proctor just passed away, one of the best motivational guys. I just learned about this guy, but he says if you're doing what you're paid for, you'll never get more. So you have to do more than you're paid for. But that doesn't mean to do work for free.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you serve your customer in a greater way than your competition without actually giving them more work? What things can you give them that would add value?
Our training program is a perfect example.
It is a great example.
It's a perfect example.
It is a perfect.
I am doing more for my customer by creating a new, young, dedicated workforce that is not out there.
Yes.
Okay? At no cost to them.
Right.
All right?
It's brilliant.
So I am serving them better because I can produce more.
Yeah.
Right? Without hindering them on anything.
Yeah, and that's a great hunting field. The high schools of America have kids out there who want to do something.
That's absolutely
and they're
right.
Smarter than ever when it comes to tech and computers.
And you're doing engineering. You're in a computer.
Yeah.
So look, that is a great example of doing more for your customer without doing more work.
Yeah.
And you get it?
Yeah, setting that, building value without doing more things.
You have to be your customer's partner.
Yeah, very much so.
Your customer's partner. Okay?
Your equals.
Once you become a partner and you create that habit, that hey, DraftPros is the company that delivers for me.
Yes.
The work won't stop. The work won't stop coming because their needs is got to be met.
Yeah.
And if you're delivering, and then on top of that, you're doing exactly what the gentleman in the book you mentioned,
Bob Proctor. Yeah.
Bob Proctor said, you're doing more without doing more work.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's to serve your customers. Now you've created a formula that becomes
it's a
addictive.
Conveyor machine. It just keeps coming. Cyclical.
And so those are some of the things that we do different than my competition to keep our customer engaged with us.
Yeah, and the worst question I've ever been asked on a podcast is, how do you crush your competition? And I always say, there's not enough work out there for one person. So I don't crush anybody. No. I do the best possible job I could do. I talk up my competition. There's things that they do, because I'm not for everybody, and everyone's not for me. But as far as what I do it. Nobody does it better than me. No one will outwork us. No one will give you more value. And if you think that there's work for somebody else, God bless them. I tell you what, though, when you match up our quality at the end of the day, you're going to see the difference. And then you can make the choice of who you give it to. But never crushing anybody, crushing my dreams. That's what I do.
No, I don't. Again, when we started the podcast, we talked about don't worry what the other guy's doing.
Which is the opposite of what we were taught.
Yeah. Focus on you.
Yeah.
Focus on your company. There's competitors out there. There's companies that are 10 times bigger than mine, and there's companies that are 10 times smaller than mine. It doesn't matter to me.
That's right.
The only thing that matters to me is our company.
The circle of control.
My team, my people, and serving my group of folks that I have been blessed to lead.
That's right.
Right? And so when I go to my customer, I tell them just that. I don't know what your other guy does. I only know what I do.
Yes.
I do a good job, a great job, and I'm going to show you through, the pudding, the proof is in the pudding.
Proof, yep.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm going to show you through my product. Okay? And by the way, let me tell you the things we do that I know no one else is doing. right? Like the training and all this. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sets you apart. Why? Because I'm not charging my customer for this training school.
No, it's incredible. It's incredible value. And I think we could all do some sort of level of that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not to the extent you're doing it, which is a great foundation, and I think a lot of people can. But for a really small business who's just maybe a service business, you can go to these DECAs, the junior achievements, and you can have interns come and work for you during the summer and give them a chance.
It works for any business.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a painter.
Yeah.
Or you're a landscaper guy like your son, right?
That's right.
And they need workforce. Why not give a chance to a young kid out of high school?
Oh,
right?
believe me, yeah.
You know, they got to be the right age, legal age. You got to get the legalities.
Come over here and do marketing, social marketing for them. You know, there's a lot of things that they can do.
Whatever it is, you're going to get them at a very good rate of pay because they're excited and happy without abusing the fact that they're inexperienced. You want to be fair. Give them a good fair pay, but you're not going to pay top dollar.
Right.
Right? You're not bringing in a professional. You're bringing in a rookie, but you're going to train that rookie. And what you get, that dedication that you get from these kids, you can't pay for that.
No. And they talk about millennials and their attitudes. I find it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I find they're crazy dedicated. They like to work. Look at our armed services, best armed services in the world. Who do you think makes up that armed services? The young people coming out of high school.
It isn't me. I couldn't jog 2 miles.
Listen, I think we've said it all. I think we could talk for hours more reminiscent about the lessons we've learned.
Plus, I'm hungry.
I do thank you. I'm a product of you.
I
really am.
We are a product of each other, I believe,
I'll
Jeremy.
take that. I'll take
We've been
it.
great friends, great co-workers.
Yeah, and we fought like brothers.
Oh,
we have been. You said, you're bigger than me, but I'll shoot you. That makes sense.
And listen.
Fair enough.
I've got to find a balance, right?
Those were the good old days. But we have definitely gone through a lot of stuff and come out the other side much better for it. I think we're paying forward.
Yeah.
Paying forward for things that we learned, and I'm glad to be here sitting next to a friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hope it's not the last time.
I hope it's not the last time. We're going to get you on the risk factor and talk about some of your employees that we're going to talk about some maternity leave issues, some post-cancer, people who get cancer
HR.
while they're working, HR issues.
So I should bring HR with me here.
Please bring HR. I'll
bring the head of HR.
Love it. We'll get to get a bigger table.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. And we got some room. Yep. So we'll see you next time. Don't forget to go pro.